The things that cannot be long hidden are sun, moon, and truth. This is not the quote that has been just described by me. This is not the quote that has been just originated from my side. This is the famous quote of the famous hermitage of India as well as of the whole world. He is Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha, and his earlier name was Siddhartha. There are hardly any persons around us who don't know about Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha is not just a name to us. Gautam Buddha, when the name it comes in our mind, we get pleasure, we get peace by mind. As because Gautam Buddha, he is a symbol of peace. Gautam Buddha, he is the symbol, he is the preacher of Buddhism, Buddhist religion in India as well as in the whole world. So according to us, Gautam Buddha is not merely a name, it's more than a name. So let's come to the point. I'm your teacher Prasenjit Basu. Let's get started. Our today's topic is Buddhism. In our last video, children, you have just come to know about Jainism, the Jain facts, and the founder of the Jainism and the Jain religion was Vardhaman Mahavira. Now in this video, we are just going to learn about Buddhism, the famous preacher and the hermitage of the Buddhist religion, Gautam Buddha, and his lifestyle, his biography, most importantly his teachings, and everything we will just reveal in this video. Perhaps this video may be longer than the previous video, but still children, this is my recommendation to all of you. Don't just skip the video and watch till the end, as because lots of things will be just revealed and lots of surprises are still waiting for you, as because from your textbook so many things are not written. So in this video, in this teaching, I'm just going to reveal and explore. I'm trying very hard to just reveal all those untold stories about Gautam Buddha. You will just come to know, I'm pretty sure about that after watching the video, you will also be an enlightened person, an enlightened student. Not just like Vardhaman Mahavira, not just like Gautam Buddha, but by yourself, but by just watching this video, surely you will be just benefited from this video. So again, I'm telling, don't just skip the video and watch till the end. Gautam Buddha. The earlier name of Gautam Buddha was Siddhartha. He was born in the year of, it was 563 BC on 8th of April. I just repeat for your understanding. Gautam Buddha was born on 8th of April 563 BC. He was born in a Shakya family of Kapilavastu situated in the Terai region of present-day Nepal. Like Mahavira, Siddhartha also belonged from a Kshatriya family. Kshatriya family? Kshatriya. What do you mean by Kshatriya? You know children that the ancient Vedic civilization or the Vedic age got divided into two different phases. One is called the early Vedic period that was constituted since 1500 BC to 600 BC. 1000 BC, and the later Vedic period that was constituted since 1000 BC to 600 BC. In the later Vedic period, in the later Vedic age, when the caste system became very much rigid, since that time the society, the social group, the social customs and the society got divided into four different segments or sects. These are as follows: the first one and the foremost one, and they were also the uppermost class of the society, they were known as the Brahmins. Number two, they were the most important class of the society. Second most important class of the society, they were the Kshatriyas. The third one, who were associated with trade, commerce and business. So with all these purposes, they came to be known as the Vaishyas, and the most downtrodden class of the society, or the fourth most class of the society, they were known as the Shudras. And Vardhaman Mahavira, the founder of the Jainism or the Jain religion in India, and the founder of the Buddhism or the Buddhist religion in India, Gautam Buddha, both they had just born in the Kshatriya family. It means they had belonged from the Kshatriya family. Now let's talk about Gautam Buddha and his father and his parents. Gautam Buddha's father was Shuddhadana, he was obviously a warrior, as because I have already mentioned, I have already just told that he was from a Kshatriya family. So that's it's very pretty clear to us that he was from a Kshatriya family, and he was a warrior. His mother, she was Maya Devi. So Maya Devi and Shuddhadan, the parents of Gautam Buddha, both they were very good, and as because Gautam Buddha, he had belonged from a Kshatriya family, so that's why at his earlier age he did not have any scarcity of the means he did not have any kind of complaint from his life, as because his father Shuddhadana, he tried to give all the pleasures, luxury, lavish lifestyle, everything to his son. He did not want to just see that his son will be very much unhappy, disappointed, discontented in his life. So that's why he had given everything, every materialistic pleasure to him. Even it is also said to have that Gautam Buddha, he also got 3 different palaces as a gift from his father. What we have just seen from Google, what we have just seen the picture from different books and the different source of different sources, we have seen that Gautam Buddha, when he is just sitting in a yogic posture and delivering his speeches, and he is just giving the suggestions and sermons, etc., to his disciples and his followers in a different way, sitting in a yogic posture and on a lotus. Now, what does the lotus signify here? We will just come to know shortly. It is said to have, children, that when Gautam Buddha, means Siddhartha's mother, she got pregnant, she had dreamt that one night she had just dreamt that lots of lotuses are just falling on her, and at the time she just quickly she just wake up from her sleeping. He could not just identify what did he see. What did she see in her dream? She trying to just find out, she was trying to figure out that what was the indication to just see lotuses, different types of lotuses in her dream. She just could not find it out, and the next morning she just went to her husband, Shuddhadana, and she had just clearly stated all those things, all those facts that she had witnessed last night. And finally, what has happened, Shuddhadana, he was also very much a very concerned person in this matter. So that's why Shuddhadana, he went and he just called a priest or a Brahmin. When a Brahmin, he just came, a sage, he just came and he started meditation. After the completion of the meditation, he came to know, he had just revealed 2 important things. He had just revealed 2 important things to the king, Shuddhadana, and his wife Maya Devi. He told that he could see 2 different things by this kind of by hearing this kind of story from Maya Devi. The sage or that hermit, he told that 2 important things can be happened. One thing is that the person, the child who was still in the womb of Princess Maya Devi, he can be a very prosperous person in his life. He can be a very famous person. He can be a very great ruler of India. Okay, and number 2, the second prediction, it was perhaps it may have been possible that he could just earn the epithet of a hermitage. He could be very much ascetic person. He could have a great knowledge or the wisdom, and he must be an enlightened person. The second prediction was absolutely correct, as because Gautam Buddha, or earlier named Siddhartha, he got enlightened. He was very much enlightened person at his later age. So finally, what has happened, when the 3 different palaces, I told you children earlier that 3 different palaces were just gifted to Siddhartha by his father Shuddhadana. There were 3 different ponds, 3 different palaces. There were constituted 3 different ponds, and in one pond the blue lotus was just produced. In the second pond, the white lotus was just produced, and in the third pond the red lotus was produced. In different 3 palaces, 3 different lotuses were produced. So there was no scarcity of food, there was no scarcity of luxurious lifestyle, lavish lifestyle. What did Gautam Buddha or Siddhartha, he think everything was present in front of him without having any obstruction, without having any effort. The things were being presented in front of Gautam Buddha. But Gautam Buddha, Siddhartha, he was not happy yet getting all these pleasures and the luxury from his life. He was still searching something different apart from his life, that was truth. What is the truth of the life? What is the main truth of the life? He was just trying to figure out these things. For that reason, one night he had chosen that he will just go outside. Oh children, I completely forgot to tell you that Gautam Buddha, he had just loved, he had fallen in love with a girl. Her name was Yashodhara. So at the age of 16, Siddhartha got married with Yashodhara, and later on, means a baby child, a baby was just born from, a boy was just there, and his name was Rahul. So Rahul was the son of Gautam Buddha. So at one night he had just saw to think that he must just go outside and to search out that what are the real facts of our life, what is the truth of the life, is this the life? As because at his earlier age, Shuddhadana, the prince of that particular area, he did not allow Gautam Buddha to just step outside of his house. As in, he sought to think that if he goes outside, if he just sees everything, if he just watches and witnesses everything from the society, he may be discontented, he may be unhappy, he may be a little more worried about that, seeing and watching everything. So that's why he did not allow Gautam Buddha to just go outside from his vast palace. Everything was just conducted in this palace, in the particular palace. So that's why one night Gautam Buddha's or the Siddhartha's famous means long and big horse, the most lovable horse of Gautam Buddha, it was, the name of the horse, it was Kanthaka, and the name of the horse rider, it was Chandaka. Both they just went outside. So when he was just going outside at a night, he just had revealed three different things. What did he see at night? For the first time, he just witnessed a very old person. He was sitting, he had been just sitting over there, bowing down his head and just putting it on his own feet. He became quite, he felt very remorse for that, and he had just asked his chariot rider, Chandaka, that what has happened? Who is this? Who is the person? Why is he just lying down like this? The reply, it came from the horse rider or the chariot rider, Chandaka, that sir, my master, he is an old man, and he is just lying over there as because he is not feeling well. The second time when he just moved from there and he just found a different person, he was very sick and he was just lying down on a street side, and he was very sick, and he had just repeatedly asking his horse rider, the chariot rider, that now what is this, what I'm just seeing, why the person is just behaving like that. He told, the horse rider, he just replied that he is very sick, I think for that reason he's doing so. And finally, when just yet to come back to his palace, he finally, for the third time, the last time, he just witnessed that a person was just carried by 4 different persons and lying down on a bed, and it was obviously a corpse, the human dead body. So it was just taken over, it was just carried out by 4 different people. And finally, these 3 incidents had been just revealed to him within a very short span of time, and he had just come to know that this is not the actual life, this is not the real life. So what is the meaning of life? He was trying to just find out what is the meaning of life. We have just born, and we have just come to this world. We have just come to this world. Our parents, our sons, daughters are there, and we are just grooming ourselves. We are just getting everything from our lives. Life is not just going to betray ourselves, but there are so many people, there are a lot of people, they have been just dying over there without proper treatment. They're having they don't have the proper shelter, they don't have the proper food with them, and lots of crises are there in their lives. So these are the plights of the common peoples, or the grievances of the common peoples. So that's why, what is the reality of the life, what is the harsh truth about the life? He wanted to just search it out. He did not sleep at that night, and finally one day he sought to think that he will just go outside without informing his wife, without informing his father Shuddhadana, mother Mayadevi, obviously. And finally, for the last time, when he became very much determined to just go outside without informing anybody of his family, he did not want to just inform one of his family members. So he decided one night he will just go outside of his palace, and he did not decide that where to go. And finally, he actually wanted to just reveal the fact of life. He wanted to just explore the main truth of life, what the life is, and how can we just get renunciation from our lives. That was the biggest question to Gautam Buddha or Siddhartha. So that's why he decided that he will just go outside without informing anyone. Finally, the day came, and when his wife Yashodhara and his own son Rahul, they were just still lying on the bed. He wanted to just go to see his son's face one time, but certainly when he just opened the door and he had just witnessed that a big person is standing in front of him, and he was telling Gautam Buddha, don't just say it, all these are the illusions. What you can see from the family, what you can just means what you were just doing here, this is all the drama, this means that to be staged out, as because what we have been just doing, this is not the reality of the life. Our fathers, our mothers, our brothers, sisters, everywhere, in everywhere you can see that you are bound with a lot of chains. So that's why this cannot change your life. If you really want to do something, if you really want to achieve the goals of the eternal divinity, you have to just go outside, you have to just find out the reality or the harsh truth. So that's why you have to just go outside. And finally he was not allowed to just see one time the face of his own son Rahul. And the day was very much important for Gautam Buddha. He had just gone from his palace, he just gave up all the luxurious and the lavish lifestyle. Means he couldn't just imagine that where he was going. It was not just pre-decided when he just left his palace. And finally Siddhartha, he went to achieve the wisdom or the enlightenment fact. And finally he was embraced hermitage after meditating for close to 6 years. He had meditated over there for a long period of 5 years. After the completion of the 5 years, not a single truth it just came in his mind. So that's why he did not just give up. Listen children, means this is the truth of life, as because he had started meditation after the completion of 5 years. He had not achieved anything, but he did not give up. He did not give up. Still he was just going on in search of truth, as because he was very determined. He was very determined to just search out the reality or the truth of life. So finally what has happened, he had meditated for close to 6 years and he got the wisdom, and since that time he was enlightened. He also became enlightened just like Vardhaman Mahavira in Jainism. And Siddhartha, when he just left his house, at the time he was only 29 years of old. He was named Buddha for attaining Bodhi, as because he had just attained Bodhisattva, or means he had just groomed himself. He had just come to know the reality of a particular life. So that's why he was named Buddha. Therefore the religion preached by Buddha is known as Buddhism. Though he was, we say the founder of the Buddhist religion was Gautam Buddha, but Gautam Buddha, he did not consider himself as because he was a founder of Buddhism. He was a founder of the religion that could be compared as a humanity. I told you children that according to me the religion is humanity, and Gautam Buddha was working hard, very hard, to just reveal that fact only, that this is the reality, this is the harsh truth of the life. Siddhartha was meditating under a peepal tree in a place near Gaya. Gaya is present time, it's situated in Bihar. It was here that he had meditated his bodhi or wisdom, and therefore he is known the tree under which he had just meditated for close to 6 years. That tree came to be known as Bodhi Vriksha. The tree under which he had just meditated for close to 6 years, that came to be known as the Bodhi Vriksha. From Gaya, Gautam Buddha had travelled to Sarnath, that was close to Varanasi, Sarnath. There for the first time he had just preached his sermons, he had just given his speeches and teachings to his 5 disciples or the followers. These 5 disciples or followers, later they had started to just preach after the death of Gautam Buddha. They had started to just preach the Buddhism in different areas, in different countries. You know children that Buddhism is not only famous in Indian subcontinent, in India, even in South Asian continent the Buddhism is very famous. You can just take 2 different kinds of names where the Buddhism is very famous. One is called China, and you can just go over there. In Nepal also Buddhism is very famous. So Buddhism is not only famous in Indian subcontinent only. Apart from India, Buddhism become very much famous in different countries like Nepal and Bhutan and China also. So to them he had just explained the cause of misery of human life. This was the first time he had just given the correct explanation of lives, that why does a common people, he gets the misery of his life, why he is under severe strain, and everything was just discussed in detail. These disciples, Buddha analyzed the reasons for sufferings and how remove were such sufferings. So in his context, Buddha preached about four principal tenets, and that came to be known as the Four Noble Truths of Life. Gautam Buddha came to know about the four different tenets or the principles of life, and these came to be known as the Chatur Arya Satya, or the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths of Buddhism is very famous, so you have to know. It's not mentioned in your book. I'm just going to tell you that what are the four different noble truths, or the Chatur Arya Satya. Chatur Arya Satya of Buddhism. This one is, the first one is life is painful. I'm just telling life. Number one is life is painful, life is full of sufferings. This is the first one. Number two, there are lots of reasons or causes behind the sufferings of a human being. Number three, there are lots of ways to just remove the sufferings from our lives. And number four, if you just meditate properly, at the time the severe conditions or the sinful effects, or that is called the grievances or the plights of a life, can be just removed permanently. So these four things are called the Four Noble Truths, or the Four Noble Tenets of the Buddhism. I'm just going to repeat one more time, children, that are: life is painful, life is full of sufferings, there are reasons behind the sufferings of human being or lives. Number three, there are lots of ways to just remove sufferings from a human being. And number four, this is the last one, that there are if you just meditate, if you just go through in a correct way, you can just remove all the sufferings from your life. So these are called the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. Okay, together this Eightfold Path is known as the again he had just given the solutions. Again he had just given the solutions how to just remove all these grievances and the plights from our lives. He had just given the explanations too, and the explanations of the given explanations of Gautam Buddha are commonly or togetherly known as the Ashtangik Marga, or Eightfold Path. Ashtangik Marga, Ashta here refers to 8, and the Marga means that is called the tenets or the path. So by just practicing 8 different policies in your life, you can just give up all the sufferings from your life. As because life is like a cycle, a ring of a cycle. It means every time you are just you are born in a society, there are lots of reasons behind your grievances, the plights, everything. As because everywhere you can see that, and behind all these grievances and the plights, the one important cause is expectation. If you do expect, you have to just lose everything. So that's why if there is no expectation, if there is nothing in your life, you don't consume the personal properties and all these things that I have just already mentioned in my previous video in Jainism. Vardhaman Mahavira, he also just told the same thing. So that's why there are lots of similarities between Gautam Buddha and Vardhaman Mahavira. One more interesting fact about Gautam Buddha, I'm just going to share with all of you. That is, one day Gautam Buddha, he was just carried by his father Shuddhadana. Both they had they had just visited to a place that was a fair was going on. It means a mela was going on. So by going there, he was given a particular carpet on which he was just sitting over there, and finally he saw that the carpet, it was just put down on the green grasses, and behind that beside that lots of insects, they were just getting dry. So this incident became very crucial in his life, and he ultimately wanted to just find out that why the people do so, as because perhaps they're just laying their eggs over there, and they are just not before just blooming, before just coming in the society, in the world, they are just getting died. So that's why this was the most important causes to just give all the sufferings and all the pleasures and everything from the life. So he wanted to just search out these 4 things. And finally, what has happened when the Ashtangik Marga, by just adopting, by practicing, and by exercising these 8-fold paths, you can easily remove all the grievances from your lives. And these are as follows. Number one, right belief means you have to just believe in a right way. Number two, right resolve, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right thought, and right meditation. For meditation, suppose you are thinking that you have to meditate for very hard. No, this cannot be happened. You should not just go through, you should not just think about that you have to if you are just going to renounce on life, you have to meditate for a long period of time, you have to torture your figure, your wealth. No, that was not it should be very much moderate for Gautam Buddha. So that's why he had just introduced a different thing that came to be known as the Majjhim Pantha, or middle path. He had just told to just adopt that. Therefore Buddha went to Rajgriha, their Magadhan king Bimbisara. You know, children, that the Bimbisara was the famous king of the Magadhan empire. So Bimbisara, he had also adopted the Magadhan king Bimbisara became his disciple. So Bimbisara also, he was just embraced with this new religion, that was Buddhism. Buddha used to wander for 8 months in a year and preach. Gautam Buddha had lived for a stretch of 21 years in kingdom of Koshala. After preaching for almost 45 years, Gautam Buddha died in Kushinagar in the year of 486 BC. So Gautam Buddha, now just think, children, that he had belonged from a Kshatriya family. He didn't have any kind of scarcity, he didn't have any kind of complaint in his life, but still he was just wandering in search of truth, that was the reality of the truth. And finally he just came to know by just watching, by just witnessing a single fact. That old man, the story that I told you, that a old man, a sick man, and finally a person, a dead corpse, he was just carried by 4 different persons lying on the bed. So these were the 3 different incidents in his life that was happened, and finally he just came to know about the reality of the truth of the life. In the history of Buddhism, Buddhist religious Sangitis have the special significance, just like Vaishnav religion, who are the preacher of the Sri Krishna, who are the preachers of that is famous Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The main aspect of this preaching, the main medium of this preaching of this religion, Vaishnav religion, Kirtan, Nagar Sankirtan are very famous for them. If you have just gone to Mayapur ISKCON or Navadvip Dham, I think that you have just seen that how does this take place, how do the disciples of Vaishnav religion, they just preach, they just surrender themselves in front of God, in front of Lord Krishna. Just like that, in the history of Buddhism also, the 4 different Sangitis were held after the death of Gautam Buddha in different places by the initiatives taken by different presidents, under the initiatives of different presidents. I'm just going to tell one by one when the Buddhist or the Buddha Sangiti took place. The first Buddhist Sangiti that took place, it was the location was Rajgriha, and the reign was Ajat-Shatru, and the president was Mahakashyap. Just like that, in the second time, it was just held at Vaishali under the reign of Kalashuk or Kakvarna, and the president at the time, it was Yash. The third Buddhist Sangiti, it was just conducted at Pataliputra under the reign of King Ashoka, and the president was Moggaliputta Tisa. And number 4, that was the last one, that was just conducted at Kashmir, and under the reign of Kanishka, and the president this time he was Vasumitra. So these are the facts of Gautam Buddha and his teachings. His teaching was absolutely admirable. The most important fact, you can just get the similarity between the 2 different persons, the founder of the Jainism, Vardhaman Mahavira, and Gautam Buddha. Both, they had just belonged from the Kshatriya family, but they didn't have any kind of jealousy that we are very rich, we should not just think about the common peoples every time. Being a Kshatriya, being a very rich person, they did not have such kind of audacity in them. They had just spread the religion in a very simple language. They had just spread their religion in a very different language so that it could be understood by all the common peoples. And that's why I told in my last video, children, I'm just going to repeat the same thing once again for your betterment, that Brahmanism or the Brahmani the useless and the elaborate rituals, especially the sacrifices of animals, were most compulsory and the means compulsory work and the compulsory system, different types of yajnas or yagnas conducting all these things become very much compulsory for the Brahmins, but not for the Buddhism and Jainism. So that's why means taking this opportunity, taking this advantage, so many peoples, especially from the fourth class peoples, those were the most downtrodden class of the society, they had taken these new religions like the Buddhism and Jainism. Though Sikhism is not part of our history book today, you will just come to know elaborately about the new religion Sikhism in standard 7. I will just teach at the time also. So Gautam Buddha and Vardhaman Mahavira, in this context, they were quite similar. Whereas Prakrit language literature had improved with assistance of Jainism, Pali was the language of preaching Buddhism. So different languages were used to just preach the language, but the fact is that whatever it could be the Pali language, whatever it could be the Prakrit language, but both languages were very the languages were the common language. And whenever we can see that the Hinduism and the Brahminism, the Brahmist religion, when there was just preached in a different language, obviously there was a Sanskrit language, it could not be just understood by the common peoples, because Sanskrit was not very much easy language for the common people to understand. Okay, Mahavira had put emphasis on intense meditation. On the other hand, Gautam Buddha used to believe that meditation or meditating hard does not just lead to the Nirvana or the salvation. Nirvana or the salvation. It means you have to meditate, you have to not very hard, that I have already mentioned you, that again salvation cannot be achieved through luxury and consumption. It means you have to just follow the moderate path of your life. You should not be very much hard, strict in your life, that you have to just meditate a long day. And number 2, you should not just consume. If you are thinking that you have to just consume the personal properties, you have to just deal with very luxury and the lavish lifestyle, that cannot be done also. This is not done also. So means you have to just follow the middle path of the of your life, and that came to be known as the Majjhim Pantha, or means Majjhim Patipada, or the middle path. Now both Mahavira and Buddha used to just pay more visits in cities. Two different societies were there. One is called city, and number 2, this was the rural area. Obviously that is called remote area or the village area. Gautam Buddha as well as Vardhaman Mahavira, they had just put their emphasis in preaching the religion in cities. They had just considered the cities are the most worst affected or the worst sufferers, as because the life of the city is very fast and they are just going to renounce all these things. So that's why they had just given extra attention in developing the lifestyle of the cities, as because the common peoples of the local area or the any remote village, they cannot be they cannot just enjoy their lives with the lots of material centric views, as because they don't have such money, they don't have such kind of luxury with them. But the life of the cities are very sinful. So that's why both they had just chosen the cities become the soft target of Gautam Buddha and Vardhaman Mahavira to just preach their religion. And this is very interesting. In Brahmanism, living in the cities, visiting cities was considered to be a sin. Therefore, both Jainism and Buddhism had spread over there in the cities. This is, however, true of the new religious movements itself, since these were the mainly city-centric. One more thing, children, that you should not just forget, that Gautam Buddha and Vardhaman Mahavira, both they had just earned their livelihood when they had just meditated. They had just come to know about the real story, the reality or the harsh truth about their life. They had dependent to just collect the foods from the dense forest. That actually they became hermit, means sage, or the saint, means sadhu. They had just become, and their earn of livelihood, their source of livelihood, their source of income was means begging from door to door. I'm just listen me very carefully. Their earning source, it was obviously begging from door to door. They had started begging from door to door, as because without begging it could not have been possible for them to just sustain their life, to just survive in the dense forest. So that's why they became quite enthusiastic to just depend and to just survive in the dense forest for begging. Now the tales of Jataka. What is the tales of Jataka? Actually, the previous lives of Gautam Buddha, so many lots of stories are there in relating with the Gautam Buddha's previous life. So that came to be known as the tales of Jataka. What are the tales of Jataka? I'm just reading from page number 74. If you're having the book, you can just follow me. There are certain tales in Tripitaka under the heading of Jataka. Tripitaka is a holy scripture of Buddhism. Tripitaka is constituted with three different Pitak. Pitak here refers to Tripitaka is the principal text of Buddhism, that is Sutta Pitaka, Binay Pitaka and Abhidhamma Pitaka, and different three Pitaka, Binay Pitak, Sutta Pitak, Abhidhamma Pitaka. If you just read three different Pitakas at the time, you can be enlightened, as because all the teachings and all the things have been just clearly stated and explained in these three Pitaka. Tipak means Pitak. In Pali language, the word Pitak means basket. So these all are the baskets of different knowledges, by reading, by just exercising, by performing different acts that have been just provided, the preaching, the teachings that have been just provided by Gautam Buddha. You can also be enlightened by yourself, as because I have already told you that no more elaborate ritual, no useless ritual, no extra expenses. If you just want to call the god, if you just want to get very close to the gods and goddesses, you don't need to practice any elaborate rituals, you don't need to sacrifice any animals, you don't need to be very rich and wealthy. You only need a fresh mind. If you're having a fresh mind, if you're thinking about the common peoples, if you are just, if you do believe in humanitarian ideas, if you are human, if you think about the humankind, at the time you can easily just reach out over there. In my Hinduism also, I am also Hindu, and I can just gladly say that in my religion also one person is there. His name is Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa Deva. Ramakrishna Paramahansa Deva, he had stated that he had attained all the religions. He was, in one hand, he was a Brahmin, he was a Shudra, he told he was a Muslim, he was a Sikh, he was a Jain, he was a Buddhist, he was a Zoroastrianism, he was a Christian, everything. He had just attained all the religions, as because there is no discrimination, there should not have any kind of discrimination in the religion. That's why it's very important to us. Okay, so there are certain tales in the Tripitaka under the heading of Jataka. It is believed that Gautam Buddha took birth in different times. Stories from the each of such incarnations have been told in the Jatakas. Incarnations, when a person dies, after that, when he just comes back once again in the society in a different way, in a different look, in a different family, this is called the incarnation. Gautam Buddha also wanted to just know that if you want to just get if you want to be very much satisfied after just giving up all the luxuries and the lavish lifestyle from your from your family, you can do so. For that reason, you have to practice the meditation. The salvation, Nirvana, was very much important. Nirvana, what is that? Nirvana means you have to just renounce your life. You have to just surrender your life in the names of God. You have to just leave the relations of your family members. You have to become a hermit, as because you have to just go over there in a dense forest. You have to meditate for a long period of time, so that you cannot be disturbed by anyone. And whenever Gautam Buddha, he left his house for attaining the wisdom or the entity of life that came to be known as the Mahavinishkaman or the great departure. Mahavinishkaman or the great departure of Gautam Buddha. And that's all. Okay, so there is moral in search of these stories. There are different moral stories. I think most of you have just read about these books which are available in your library. These Jataka tales were used for spreading religion among the common people. There are more than 500 Jataka tales. More than 500 Jataka tales are available. Can you imagine, children? These used to be composed and narrated in Pali. Human beings, birds and animals have just featured. These are the featured characters of these poems, these tales and all these things. The tales means short stories, and the short stories are very important for Jatakas, as because in if you just go through the Jatakas, you cannot just get a good marks in your examination, but you can be called a very good person, as because we in our everyday life, Jataka tales are very important. It gives us different ideas, like Panchatantra's mantra, Panchatantra Golpo, different moral stories have been just given, it has been just revealed in a different ways also. It can just show our lifestyle, our grievances and all these things. We can just relate ourselves and our everything in these stories. So Jataka tales are one of them, and much can be known about the contemporary society of the Jataka tales. These are the very important. If you just want to know about the Jataka tales, you can just go through the stories that are just related with the previous lives of Gautam Buddha, that are very important. Moral, you can be correct. So up to this, children, means I hope that all of you have understood and you had a very great experience with me. If you're having any question in doubt regarding this topic, you may just write over to the comment section. You can just write and let me know that in what topics and which incident you have just not come to know, you have not just understood properly. Just go to the comment section. I will just get back to you through the comment section, and I will just come back with a new video shortly. I will start chapter number 6, imperial expansion and administration, by my next video. So till then, stay safe, stay home. Goodbye.